You're listening to The Sports Fix.
Portions of The Sports Fix brought to you by Fantasy Jocks. Looking to upgrade your league trophy? Check out fantasyjocks.com for championship belts, rings, trophies, and more.
Sports Fix listeners, don't wait all day or all week to get in on the fun. The party doesn't stop when we go off the air all week long. The Sports Fix social media sites are your one-stop shop for all things Cleveland sports. Jump over to Facebook.com/TheSportsFix, Facebook.com/TheSportsFix, and become a fan today because we love fans and they create some of the best sports talk in town, Daddy. You'll enjoy talking to your fellow Cleveland sports fans on the Sports Fix fan page. And if Twitter's your thing, well, you know how we do it. Tweet with us at TheSportsFixCLE. It's that simple.
Twitter.com/TheSportsFixCLE, baby.
Chat live with the crew during all your favorite Cleveland sports events, tickets and contests and trivia and so much more. Get with us today, The Sports Fix on social media, Facebook.com/TheSportsFix. Tweet with us at TheSportsFixCLE. Join The Sports Fix on Facebook and Twitter today.
I'm Tyler Zeller, and you're listening to The Sports Fix.
Live in Ohio, it's time to get your fix. The Sports Fix.
Welcome in, my friends. We are live on the air across the Sports Fix Radio Network. Feeling good, energized this morning. We're going to have a hell of a show today, guys. Welcome in. I am your host. Welcome into the Sports Fix. J-Rock, Jerry Myers, kicking it off here. The coordinator of the madness that we call the Sports Fix. Each and every weekday at noon, live right here across the Sports Fix Radio Network. Welcome in those of you listening to us live on TuneIn and TuneIn's radio app worldwide. Those of you listening on Spreaker, love my friends over there at Spreaker and their respective mobile app, and as well Mixler and their digital application. Welcome in everybody streaming the show live every day right off the home base, thesportsfix.net. I tell you guys all the time, keep it in the back of your mind, bookmark it, because even if you enjoy the show on one of the dozens of other platforms that it's available, that's always your go-to. Always live at noon. The show booms right out of the speakers. You don't even have to click a button on thesportsfix.net. So make sure you bookmark the page today. As well, welcome in everybody listening around the world. Thousands of you on digital delay 24/7 on iHeartRadio, the world's largest internet radio network, on iTunes and Stitcher Radio and CarPlay and SoundCloud and all of the other places that you guys subscribe us, feed us, and, well, you know, all the things that you do. All them digital technical doohickeys that make up the Sports Fix Radio Network. Thank you so much for doing it, guys. Each and every day, I appreciate it. As I say, I don't just appreciate it. You're not just doing it for me. This is your show. This is your land. This is my land. This is the Sports Fix, baby. So be a part of it. Take advantage of that. 216-539-7535 when the phones are open. 216-539-7535, the number to call. As always, today we've got a lot of guests. We've got people coming in and out. So if the phones are busy or if we can't take your calls, leave your message 24/7 on the hotline. We'll play it the next day as well. Those of you who listen on digital delay, it doesn't matter. Use the hotline 24/7. And if you don't want to get on the phones, hit us. Maybe you're shy. That's okay. Facebook and Twitter is the place. Well, there wasn't a lot of shy people on Facebook yesterday. I'm going to talk about that in a moment. Throwback to yesterday's show. Facebook.com/TheSportsFix. Tweet with us at TheSportsFixCLE. Email us, TheSportsFix@AOL.com. Facebook.com/TheSportsFix. Tweet with us at TheSportsFixCLE. Email us, TheSportsFix@AOL.com. We're going to talk in just a minute here. We're going to talk Cavalier. I want to go back to yesterday's show. We're going to get into some football. Let me look through the slate here. As a matter of fact, I'll preview things for you guys. Of course, it's Tuesday. That means just about 15 minutes from now, Jeff Gorman from Indians101.com. He'll be here It's hot stove season. Matter of fact, yesterday the Royals make a move. Everybody in the division. Every day I wake up, it seems like somebody else in the Central is doing something. The Twins grab Santana. The Royals grab Morales. Now they got Rios and the White Sox. And man, I'll tell you what, we'll talk about all of that, Indian stuff and more with Jeff Gorman from Indians101.com as the American League Central heating up in hot stove season. Dr. Football Bill Chachkes, he's here every Tuesday. Bill will be here today. As always, we'll talk about John Manziel's debut. The Browns not only look back at the Bengals game, we'll talk a little bit about Carolina. Speaking of them, hey man, this is a big game for them against the Browns because at a vaunted 5-8-1 record, they are on the verge of tying for first place there in the NFC South, that incredible division. So big playoff chances for Carolina in this game. For those of you that think that it gets any easier from here, it doesn't. We'll talk about that with Dr. Football. We'll talk about DeMarco Murray. He's got surgery coming up on the hand. Playoff chases around the NFL. All of that coming when Dr. Football joins us. Normally, Doug Plagans, voice of the Lake Erie Monsters, here with us on Tuesdays. Doug's going to be with us tomorrow morning instead. So we're going to talk live to Doug Plagans tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Hey, as well, John McMullen from the Sports Network will be here tomorrow, and Dan Wismar. So a busier hump day edition of the Sports Fix than usual, but that's tomorrow. We got a lot to get into today. Before I get into moving forward, let's look backwards a little bit. Yesterday's show, and whoo boy, open up the floodgates, man, in both directions yesterday. For those of you that listened, or maybe you missed it, if you did, go back and take a listen, but most of you didn't. And, again, with yesterday's show, hopefully, I hope it, well, again, you can't really please everybody all the time. And I was telling some people that I thought one of the biggest things that may have surprised a few people is that for the most part, I'm a pretty let's talk about everything kind of guy. And I still thought that we did that in this case. But you know that I like to talk about all perspectives of things. I like to, give things an equal opportunity for the most part. So I think when I come out and I'm so strong in one direction or the other, people are taken aback sometimes. And I laugh because with some people, it's like, hey, man, I like it, man. You tell it how you see it, man. Even if I don't agree with it, man, you tell it how I see it. Until you say something that somebody doesn't agree with, and then all of a sudden you don't know what you're talking about. But no, it wasn't that bad. But it was, we talk about the split with Manziel fans and Browns fans and Hoyer fans. It's amazing that they're not even all in the same group, but because it's kind of diametrically opposed there. They should all still be Browns fans, but I swear they're not. They're broken up into these different sections. So, but yesterday's show, I've made it clear. Listen, some media around town's a trip. They're a trip, man. We talk about that all the time. A lot of these guys were tattooing the number 2 on their chest on Saturday and then telling you how miserable the guy was on Sunday and how they knew it all along. That's bogus, and I have a problem with people like that. Now, I don't think that there's anything wrong with me still saying, hey, look, before the Browns drafted John Manziel, I did not think that he was going to translate in the NFL for so many reasons. Some people think that if you don't like Manziel or if you hate on him, it's because he rides swans and drinks Ace of Spades and parties with Playboy models. You think I care about swag? No, I'm serious. I tell people that all the time. I'm like, I love swag. I do. I love confidence. Have you guys not? Some of you know me off the air or have gotten to know me. Do you not know what kind of dude I am? I'm a professional wrestler by trade for the last 15 years. I'm all about pomp and circumstance and sizzle. I get that. I got no problem with that. I don't. My problems with John Manziel, and again, this goes way beyond before the Browns even had him on the radar. Well, maybe he was on Jimmy Haslam's radar and that homeless guy, but he wasn't on the Browns' actual radar because we weren't even close. I'm talking during his second season. I firmly believe that it took less than 2 years for college football and college defenses to catch up to him, let alone the NFL. So way before he became a member of the Cleveland Browns, I said, man, the Browns can draft any quarterback in this draft, and I'll be all right as long as it's not you know who. And it's because I'll tell you why. This is not anything to do with reasons that I don't like him. It's because of the physical skill set. I don't know where this myth came out that he was this super duper athlete that was going to hit the NFL running and rewrite the record books. And I'm not talking about statistically. I mean with his speed and all of that, because that is far from the truth. And I don't understand why people see different things with their eyes than I do, and many other people do with mine. This is not to bash the kid. The kid, I'll tell you what, and let me just stop there, because I got to mention Merrill Hodge, because this is going to bridge into a little bit of that comment that he made about 6th-round talent and 1st-round pick. Let me make this clear. I'm no fan of Merrill Hodge. He's nothing special to me. He's a Pittsburgh Steeler. Big deal. Like, that is nothing special to me. Just because you don't think somebody's all that does not mean that everything that they say is to be tossed aside. People can't have rational conversations. I mean, it's all or nothing. It's in or out. It's throw it away or keep it, and just because the guy's a bonehead, just because he's a Steeler, just because he's this or that, doesn't mean that there's most definitely truth to be taken out of that. And that statement, regardless of the rest of what Merrill Hodge said, that statement is true. Listen, even today, I'm telling you that the gig is not over on John Manziel's future. In a few years, he could possibly develop physically, mentally, intellectually into an NFL quarterback. But he is beginning at such a raw level. And even if you develop him, he's smaller than the small quarterbacks. That's not to bash the size. Small quarterbacks can do well. We've seen that. But he's smaller than some of those guys. He is a boy amongst men. He is also not NFL fast. I know everybody thinks that he is, but he is not NFL fast. He is being chased down by defensive linemen on NFL first strings. Not linebackers, not cornerbacks, defensive linemen. I'm just saying, guys, his intangibles are not off the chart, which means that even when you develop him, it's going to take you a few years, and even then, what is your max ceiling? Guys, I just wish that people would be realistic about it. It is not about this. Now, see, when you take all that and then you combine it with trademarking the name and all of the other things, now you're like, okay, this is ridiculous. And that's why some fans are going far too overboard in relishing what this kid's going through. I've heard a whole lot of, you made your bed and now you got to lay in it and all of that. That's not true either. Now, yeah, he asked for it by trademarking the name and being Johnny Football and the personality. But, all of the other stuff, he didn't control where the Browns drafted him. The Browns did that. And I'm going to go to Bernie Kosar here in the middle of this too, because I'm going to tie that into it when we get there in a minute. But I'm still talking about yesterday. But there is no pleasure. And I said this before, man. I'm not hey, I told you so. I mean, I'll drop it in from time to time and then move on. No lingering on that. I'm not one of those guys that does that. And I don't mean about Manziel. I just mean in general. But, moving forward is what we got to do here regardless. Like, this is something that the Browns seriously have to deal with, and that's where Bernie Kosar's comments to me come in, because now, all right, here we're going to go into a whole nother portion of the fan base. When you mention Bernie Kosar, you can only go one of two ways with the fan base. It's either the side of the fan base that takes what he says as gospel, or the side that says Bernie the drunk who's been beaten to head and he's got nothing worthwhile to say and he's just grinding an axe against the Cleveland Browns. Because Bernie Kosar came out yesterday and absolutely railed the Cleveland Browns organization for what happened with John Manziel's debut the other day, and just went to town about how the dysfunction in the front office, it set up John Manziel to fail. And you know what? Where have you heard those words before? Because I'm pretty sure in the last few weeks, I remember hearing Kendall Lewis use the phrase, set up to fail. Jonathan Knight used the phrase, set up to fail. I remember Dan Wismar using the phrase, set up to fail. Nobody wanted to listen to that. Nobody wanted to listen to anything but this fantasy world. And that's one of the things that Bernie Kosar mentioned, was that last week, No wonder the Cincinnati Bengals came in pissed off. No wonder the Cincinnati Bengals came in going, not only were they mad about what happened when we went to their house a few weeks ago, but this entire week, a playoff game, a playoff caliber game, a division game, a in-state rivalry, all of that stuff. And every question is Manziel. They're like, listen, man, enough with this. And they went out there and made a point about that. But Bernie's point was that, and I'll tell you what, you can't deny this part of what Bernie said. It was the switch of the quarterback. It was a cover-up. It was a gloss it over. It was a try to patch up the end of